Hello and welcome to The One Thing on Edge Radio Australia. You can see three people on the couch today because my number one right-hand lady, number one right-hand lady is not with us. She's at home because she's not well.
I know.
And today's guest is actually Lisa's guest because she invited David Best along, and we are talking about strong women. And David now only has one to deal with in the studio, not two.
Lucky David. That's all I can say. Geez, telling you right now. I'm much more, quite frankly, it's normally very overwhelming. The two of them, they bully me. It's a big problem. I suffer through, but, I get it done.
Yeah, take advantage where you got.
Absolutely. Love to see you there, Lisa. Just want to make sure that you are smiling, and I love that background. I love what you've done with the place. It's fantastic.
I know. How wonderful is technology that I can actually come in from if I mute myself, it's because I'm coughing. But yeah, I just love technology, and there was no way I was going to miss out on this subject today. And thank you, David. And
now, having said that,
hang on a minute, Lisa.
Lisa, sorry to be a pain. If I could just butt in there, can I get you to do something for me? Can you actually? We have got an audio issue coming in from your line, so it is actually at your end. Do you want to sort of drop out, come back in, and we'll give it a fresh go? What do you think? We'll keep talking amongst ourselves if you don't mind. We'll keep the old show. But you are,
we can hear you, but it's very crackly.
That's for sure. All right. So I'm going to jump to asking David a question straight out. Right? Why are you here as an expert in women, my friend?
Not an expert, it's just my observations over the years. And it all started by me giving Lisa a bit of a hard time about how many women were on the show and men. And then she showed me a picture of 4 men. So I asked her how much it costed to get them on there to pose for.
I think it's a fair statement, to be honest, because we saw a lot through the freedom movement, through the changes that have been made over the last 5 years with our society. And when we talk about the political change, we've seen a lot of women step up. Nowhere near as many men rather step up. It is quite noticeable.
Yeah, well, the last election, I was quite involved with that, with a party. Mm-hmm. And through that, 26 groups within Western Australia, 22 of them were run by women.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That's we have the power. Just saying.
I won't mention the things, but then started to notice during COVID that a lot of people organising a lot of this stuff, and the numbers of women that were turning up compared to men.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's a much deeper sort of problem, and I'll probably talk about that later. I'm going to throw back to Lisa first and foremost, just to see how we're going on the audio front. You're back. How do you sound?
Yeah, well, if we have trouble with my audio, I'll just have to type my comments. Can you hear me better now?
Much better.
Oh, absolutely. That's so good.
Yeah, we've got a winner. Fantastic. Okay. So, before I go further into the deep and the nasty, I want to throw to you, Lisa, on that one. This is your guest. Let's jump in with your questions.
With my questions, well, I would love to ask you, David, why you are so passionate about this. Like, it's obviously stirred something really, really deep inside you, and that would be my first question for you.
I just noticed over my entire life that a lot of the small businesses and things like that have started, a lot of the groups I've been involved with, there seems to be a lot more women jumping in, down to a quite expensive course I did for 3 years, Money Mastery. For the lack of a better name, would have been called Self-Mastery.
Right.
Had he called it Self-Mastery, there would have only been women on it.
Okay.
And calling it Money Mastery attracted a few men, and that's when I started to really notice.
Okay. That's an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah.
You've got an attack that I wouldn't have expected. Okay.
Yeah.
It's coming from self-mastery, and I think this is where strong women come from, I believe, is being able to self-regulate and take control of self and everyone else around you.
and organise. One of the big things the females leave the males for dead at organisation.
Yes, absolutely. Hence, we're in this situation now without Lisa here. I mean, come on, organisation's gone out the window. Absolutely. But no, you're right. You are absolutely right. And that's the wonderful thing about the two sexes, because there are just two, is the fact
I agree 100%.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd get an argument from you on that one. But this is it's a very real issue here, okay? Men and women are good at different things.
Yes.
And an organisational point of view, women... And I'm generalising. Obviously, it's not the case right across the board. Yeah. But as a generalisation, man, they are absolutely 100% on top of us. No doubt about it. So when we talk about the rallies, we're talking about the organisation of the rallies, right? You noticed a lot of women involved in that side. Was it in what kind of roles specifically? Anything come to mind?
What I've noticed is on the ground floor, political parties, the COVID movement, any of that sort of stuff, there was huge numbers of females at the bottom end. And as you go up higher and higher to the pointy end, the numbers of females diminish.
Interesting.
Except for unless you have a look at the government statistics.
Okay.
Now, 53% of people in Senate are females.
Right.
But you wouldn't see that.
No,
the general public wouldn't see it.
Asked me to name the 53% of females that are senators. Now, the difference is senators, and in the Senate, each of those senators could have one or two female secretaries, which they're possibly counting.
Sure.
I don't trust any government in their figures.
Well, no, look, I always like to use the stat, and it's very clear, 76% of statistics are made up on the spot, right? I mean, when you're talking about government stats, they are so doctored, it's not funny. But yeah, okay, in everyday society, I believe the current mix is 51% women, 49% men. So there is that in society, and that a lot of times will be reflected in different agencies. The Senate's an interesting one. It really genuinely is, because that's obviously where you do your checks and balances. I mean, to me, in a perfect world, the Senate would just recognise and would represent normal society. Is it out of whack, do you think, or...?
They're pushing really hard to try and get the numbers of females up to get the percentages to look like they're doing the right thing.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, it's whoever's doing the right thing for their local area should be voted there.
Merit.
End of story.
Yeah.
Not trying to get more females in just to make it look good.
No.
Now, they'll get there, but you got to get some of these old school males.
Look, the times they are changing, right?
Yeah. Yes. Do you think that is the issue why there's not more females stepping up in those higher roles, is because of these old school males?
Well, I'll go back to where I work in the mining, and all the mines are trying to push the number of females up, and to the point they're putting people in power that they shouldn't be, that don't have the skills.
There is an issue there.
And that becomes a major issue.
It should never be like that, because I was having that conversation actually with one of my clients who is in the mining industry, and she is female, and she does agree with everything that you're saying as well. By putting in the wrong people, you should go on merit on who the person is.
100%.
And it's not only just females. We were talking about ethnicity,
sexuality.
Yes, everything, everything, right? So we need a broad spectrum of these people so we can tick the boxes. And I think that's where it comes down to, and I don't like that. But David, I know David is with a very strong woman.
Indeed.
So do you think strong men attract strong women?
Well, I went looking for a strong woman. I was very specific. And I wrote down a whole heap of books, and it was all to do with like Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, and the lady that I'm with actually had Eckhart Tolle's book beside her bed and said that she had read. It wasn't quite true. She had looked at bits and pieces, but smart enough to know what she was doing. And
hey, she's ahead of me. I would have coloured it in. So
okay.
And she was quite spiritual, and we've been together around 16 years now.
Oh, fantastic! Jeez. Yeah.
So do you think some men are frightened? And Lisa says this, and I think this is a Lisa question, that because I've been with my partner for 37 years. So I'm not out there. I'm not looking. I don't really want, not training a new one. But I feel like we're on even keel. When I go down, he comes up. When he goes down, I come up.
Yes.
But I do know there's a lot of women out there that are single and strong-willed women, and the men just want to just shy away from that.
Exactly.
Why?
I've witnessed it on quite a few occasions through ladies I've met over the years that have been involved with major organisations or high up within an organisation, and they've all said the same thing. Once the male finds out what they actually do, they run.
I don't get that. Absolutely, 1,000% don't understand it. Like, to me, okay.
You're a strong man.
I know, I'm just the one. This is the way I was made. I know no other way.
Men are feeling threatened.
Oh, and look, and I understand, because there's been a 50-year effort to emancipate men and destroy masculinity. We know that. We've seen that. I mean, there's so many things we could talk about there. That is very real, and I feel very sorry for generations who have had to put up with that. But at the same time, ultimately, you've got to draw yourself up, drag yourself up by the bootstrings, and do that, bring it to that level. But I have never met a woman in my life, and I am out there, you know, in the world. I am out there, hello, and I'll advertise whenever I can. But when I'm out there in the world, right, I have zero concern about what a woman does for a living. I do not care. I care about her values. I care about her intelligence. I care about, like, our yin and our yang, right? Like what the two of us are going to bring to the party.
Chemistry as well.
Yeah. But as far as what she does for a living or how much money, could not care less. But I actually agree with you. I think that nowadays some men, too many men, are going, oh, she makes a lot of money.
I don't know. You've just assumed that money equals power. That's not necessarily the case. There can be a powerful woman where money's not involved. I think it's
totally agree.
It's a lot deeper than that. Than what she's
just using it as an example.
What I want to actually bring up, though, too, is, do we need, as women, to be that powerful? Aren't we allowed to allow the men to step up? Because I feel like over time we have been shown we have to do this, have to do that. Like we have to be the ones doing all the time. And it's our men that are actually going, well, what do you want me to do? I'm not sure anymore. Yeah.
Well, the roles aren't defined anymore.
Yeah. I'll probably lose mine over this, but when I met Carmel, she was bringing up her children on her own, running pubs, a very strong lady.
Sure. You met a woman who ran pubs?
She'd come home.
Yes.
And I basically had to say, there's only room in this house for one set of balls.
Right.
You leave yours at the door.
Yep.
And be the woman in the house, and I'll be the man, or I'll leave mine at the door. Now I might have mine chopped off when I get home.
David, what did that mean? What does that mean?
She's got to leave her masculinity at work.
How did that play out in the household?
Well, I want to bring this to everyone's attention.
I don't mean that in a nasty way whatsoever. It's most men want to be a man, and they want to be the provider and do all those things that a man wants to do as a strong male.
Yep.
And it wasn't anything we were fighting over, and it was joking actually when we said it. And Carmel knew exactly what I meant by it. But you could take that as being a chauvinistic text, but it's definitely not.
She could into her femininity. She could be feminine.
Lisa, if you notice on the screen, I brought up Martine's comment, and I've left it up there for quite some time because I want to discuss this. Rise of sacred female energy was required first to lead the way back to balance. Now it's sacred masculinity, or masculine, to step up. What are your thoughts there?
I agree. Yeah. I agree, because I think as women and as this female energy, we've lost our way in allowing our men to step up and be the man. And there is two genders for a reason, right?
Spot on. Exactly.
There's two genders for a reason, and the reason is you've got a man that has a set of skills that are totally different to a female set of skills. And if we don't allow them the the opportunity to show and shine with their skills, we're taking away their power. And by doing that, you're actually diminishing their value. That's my thought.
Yes.
Well said.
Yeah.
Written, spoken, and authorised. But it's true. It's true. And a comment up here from Travis Carter about makes sense about there being more women in the Senate. He said, I find women the protectors of the family and ensure that the family unit is still together. The Senate is there to protect Australians from terrible laws. Absolutely. There's your checks and balances. So
it's quite interesting. If you look at the North American Indians,
yep.
you got the chief, but the chief never has the last say on going to war.
Okay.
It's always the head woman in the party. They've got to confer with them first, and before they go to war,
right?
Because they'll have a far more level head. And what are we going to gain by this? Is it going to be beneficial to us? And all that sort of thing. And then she'll give yes or no.
All right. Okay. I'm going to say something that's going to get things thrown at me.
Oh, hang on a minute. I haven't got the water pistol.
Women are not always level-headed. There's a particular time where perhaps level-headedness...
that goes for both sides. That goes for both sides.
I like to live on the edge.
Goes for both sides.
No, it so does. No, you are right. I mean, okay, I don't know what... I don't know my cycle, so to speak, but there's a time of the month where I'm a bit of a pain in the old butt, right? But I mean, there's some truth to that.
I think that's a woman that has not evolved to recognise what her, what her hormonal cycles are doing. I think once you recognise it, you can actually pick it up yourself.
Yeah, okay.
You really can.
Yeah.
And if you find yourself getting angry and upset and stuff, you're getting angry and you're still getting angry, right, as a man.
It's emotional maturity, no matter what your gender is, right?
Correct.
The male should also realise that and realise, okay, she's going through a difficult time now. Yep. I need to just back off and...
I said it's in my phone.
Yeah.
So, that's how I know.
Yeah. It's time for me to just leave it alone and not push the buttons.
But I'm joking about it, and I bring out that point, to sort of take us another place. The reality is, okay, you need emotional maturity. Whatever gender you happen to be, you need emotional maturity.
Yes.
And when you're in a position where you're a senator or you're a lawmaker in any particular role, you need to have that level-headedness, and you've got to know, your own personality and where your strengths and weaknesses lie. Seeing this change in politics and seeing a lot more women get involved. I mean, do you think it's a positive thing as a generalisation, or what's your thought?
Well, I reckon we need another couple dozen Pauline Hansons in there.
Oh, yes.
She's got a big pair and not scared to swing them.
Do you know what? I agree. Sorry?
It's been around for a very long time.
Oh, over a quarter of a century. Since, 1997, was it?
23 years it's around that point, but she's done really well.
Yeah.
And for her to go and use the statement that everybody laughed about, please explain.
Yes.
And use that, and that she's just gone from fish and chip woman to one of the top senators, in my opinion.
Well, on the fish and chip woman, I mean, that's an independent business person, okay?
Yes.
And hard doing business, let's face it. There's so many rules, regulations of every type. Dumb people don't own businesses, right? So whatever happens to be, if you're selling, BHP or you're selling fish and chips, the fact is you've got to be on top of things. So she's pretty sharp.
I own 4 fish and chip shops. I might get there yet.
There you go. Well, hang on. It's getting near dinner time. There we are.
Yeah, very young man.
Who's coming in as Panacea Healing? I want to know.
I'm about to click the button because I just noticed that in the corner and found out who this person might be. There we go. Hang on. I'll get you to read this.
This is not even me. But apparently...
I have the controls.
Oh, Lisa, you dirty, dirty dog. Okay.
You're on top of this.
Some men struggle with the idea of equality in relationships, fearing that being in a partnership with a successful woman may cause them to feel inadequate or overshadowed. What do you have to say about that, David?
It's their insecurity that causes that, not the female's strength.
100%.
You're either able to deal with them or you're not.
Yeah.
And you just look at and this is no respect to the Filipino Asian ladies, but the amount of older men that go for them.
Yes.
Because they're so easy, so placid, and they're lovely people. I've got a lot of time for them. But it just shows you where a lot of the men's minds are.
I'm going to disagree big time on that one. I'll tell you right now, okay? Because it's a generational change. Now, in fairness to you, you've been with your partner for 16 years. I'm going to tell you right now, honestly, right now, there's a generation of very, very, very difficult, demanding women. Okay, no, it's just true.
Well, I'm not out there, so
exactly. And unfortunately, we've had a generation of women. We've had men being put down for the last 50 years. We've got I call it the effects of Oprah-onics. Okay, when Oprah got out there and told women they can have absolutely everything. You know, you can have a huge career, you can have family, you can have this, you can have that $100,000 wedding, you can have the whole box of dice, which is basically setting them up for failure. And unfortunately, we now have a lot of women who have gone through that cycle. And there are a lot of women out there who are completely unrealistic about what they can achieve. Now, why does that work when we're talking about the brides from Asia particularly? Brides from Asia are far more traditional, okay? And they look at that more traditional, they put family first, okay? And then looking after the family and whether we're talking about the children or the grandchildren or the grandparents, right? And a lot of men are sick and tired of having a woman who is aggressive, okay, and difficult and troublesome, and think, you know what? I want a world of peace. I want a life of peace. And a traditional wife, I'm inverting those commas, gives them that. So I can see both sides.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Remember too, though, Aaron, just let me say that is your perspective. And you are in a position on Edge Radio which champions freedom of speech. So you do attract a lot of, I haven't thought of another word, so I'm just going to use it. You have attracted a lot of angry people that are using you to be able to get their message out there. And I'm not making any judgment on that, but that's your reality and that's your perspective. And I'm not saying I'm not saying it's not true, but but in my experience, and I don't know what Leanne feels, but in my experience, the women around me are not angry and aggressive. They're beautiful, beautiful women looking for a man to stand up.
So any men out there that want to stand up, sorry, just plug that for you, Lisa.
I don't disagree. I'll disagree on a little bit of it. I think that, quite frankly, Edge is factually, has attracted far more women than men. Okay, so we have a bigger female audience than we do a male audience. And I very much, I love the fact that women are taking advantage of that free speech. So the angry people thing, I would utterly disagree with on that front. But I also can live my existence and my life, and the fact that I am the only friend, the only man in my entire friendship group. And again, take into account that I know far more women than I do men, but in my friendship group, okay, I know one man over the age of 40 who still has his children, right? Okay, and this dynamic changes everything, and this is why there's so much animosity between the genders at the moment. That is a real issue, and that is why men are right now going, why would I play Russian roulette, okay, with a woman? Because ultimately there's 5 bullets in the chamber, right? That's the reality of it. I think the world is a far better place when men and women are working together. We are yin and yang. We need each other. We get caught up in the games, whether it be the games of media or culture or courts or politics, which is constantly trying to push us to hate each other. That's the problem.
What are your thoughts on all that, David?
Well, you go back to the schooling. And for quite a while there, for quite a few years, all the children got prizes for being in a race, but not the winner. And we're not a society that works that way. You look at every single living creature on Earth. It's the survival of the fittest, the survival of the strongest. And when you're bringing children up to just exist and get a medal for being there,
participation,
it doesn't give them any drive to go and excel in anything, which means relationships, financial planning, and health should be 3 things taught at school.
So true.
Yeah. And then we wouldn't have a lot of these problems because, I grew up in a pretty old style family. My father was from England. My mother's parents were from England. It was 3 meat and veggie, and Dad worked like hell. Yep. And he would come home from his job and then go and do another 3-4 hours working. And I was taught never to hit a lady, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you were taught things, and if I did anything wrong, you got belted. Didn't change.
And that is all gone now. So
Yes.
consequences have been taken away. And you're quite right when you talk about, okay, the consequence of not winning a race or not trying and you still get an award. That's ridiculous. The consequences of doing something wrong, there needs to be some sort of consequence. When all of this is taken away, you end up with very weak men, okay? You end up with very weak women, or you get, again, this conflict that goes on. And we end up in the situation we've got now where we do, and it breaks my heart to say it, but we have an absolute epidemic of weak and broken men, right? And when we've seen over the last 5 years, why we've seen women stepping up is, well, two things. It's a very positive thing. It's a very, very good thing. But it's. I don't think it's a consequence of women getting stronger. I think it's a consequence of men just getting weaker.
Yes, well, they'll always fill the void. And if the men create a void, the females will come up and fill it.
That's a really good point,
And
David.
that'll work in
100%.
reverse as well if it goes the other way.
Yeah.
Of course it will.
But in saying that, now the job I've just taken on a new job this year, and I and they said, "Oh, these are the guys you're working with, 6 guys under 30," and I just thought, "Oh my God, I've got babies to deal with again." And they saw me coming in thinking, "Oh, they've got a granddad to deal with," and every single one of these guys is a really genuine young fella. And it's given me a lot of confidence that there is some good, strong, really good ethic working guys out there. And some of them are married and some of them are still looking, but the jokes and all that are going back to the old school, actually having a joke and a laugh and nothing about without being derogatory.
Okay, we've got
lots of messages coming in at the moment.
Princess 𝐒𝐼𝐄𝐍, but I think naturally men have this ego, or should I say love to be in charge. So some of them have that mindset that having a woman who's financially powerful, more powerful than them, that will crush their ego. Okay, so yeah. Do you think
Princess
that
𝐒𝐼𝐄𝐍, where are you from? Because it might because we've got cultural differences here as well.
Of course, yeah,
we do have cultural differences. So yeah, that's a very good point, Lisa. I don't know if men naturally would have ego. Not in my relationship certainly, and I don't think I sit between two men that have ego. I don't think that that's true in saying that.
I have a monstrous ego.
Oh yeah, I think ego is a fantastic thing.
Everyone has ego, but I'm thinking to the point of that you're putting it above your partner,
exactly.
right?
There's
above your partner, and
difference.
I don't think that that's the case. Or your friends, or your group, or your community. I don't think that that's. We all do need ego, 100%. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Especially we're not on this radio station, Age Radio Australia. No, kidding. But yes, definitely, I think that's needed. But I think in a relationship, I don't see it personally in my relationships.
Okay.
Both my relationship with my husband and friend relationships with males that I know. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, like I had a monstrous ego for years, and if female wasn't good enough to look like they go on the front cover of a magazine, I wouldn't go near her.
Right.
And I just worked on that. And then I realized that a lot of these relationships were so shallow. There was nothing in them. And that's when I started changing my profile online.
Okay.
And that's how I met the lady I'm with now.
In 16 years. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So my ego's changed quite a bit now. And she's belted it around a bit as well. That's all in fun. And yeah, we have our ups and downs, but we can sit down and talk.
But it takes work, right? It takes work. Even and I presume in a brand new relationship, it would take some getting used to personality-wise. I mean, you can have the connection, you can have the physical feeling of, wanting the other person, but it would take, I would presume, especially coming together as an older adult, you'd have a different set of standards than you would when you were 17, 18, 19,
of
right?
Course, yeah.
And you just said you changed your whole perspective on what you were looking for. You didn't want those shallow relationships. You're looking for someone that is steadfast and strong in their opinions, but is able to actually acknowledge your opinions and take everything into consideration without having to undermine you as a male.
I want to just make a point, David. what you're doing is absolutely wonderful. My son started going off the rails when he was a young teenager. He was an apprentice electrician, and there were no role models for him. He got bullied, and they smoked drugs at work. And I'm not saying that all electricians are like that, but he just did not have that good role model. And I just wish to God that we had more men, because God knows there's not enough fathers in the families now, that would play that role. So kudos to you. I think it's absolutely wonderful.
I'm again going to say something controversial. Women need to step up. Stop removing fathers from households. Stop removing fathers from kids' lives. If you want men to grow up to be men, they need strong role models. Stop removing them. That's a big, big deal. When kids go to school and you've got government advertising saying you're a broken female, you're a broken female, you're a broken female, and that's what the advertising campaigns are basically saying now, right? You go to school and you only actually have female teachers. You've got no male teachers there, not even your sports teachers these days, all of that, right? Okay, that poor boy is growing up being told he's faulty. He's being told he's weak, and he grows up to be a weak man. We need men to step up. 100%, but they need to be given the opportunity. And right now we live in a world where the laws actually prevent that from happening.
Oh, that's definitely going into the legal side of things.
I think we've
I've
broken
seen so
him.
many of my friends that have had breakups and that, and they can go through the courts. My advice to any man out there goes through the courts is do not involve a lawyer. The minute you involve a lawyer, and I'll give you a classic example. A friend of mine in Sydney is the top New South Wales government lawyer. Right. So if any of the lawyers have got problems, they come to him. But when I first came to Australia, I flattered with him. And he took me down to Jackson's on Jackson Street, where all the lawyers go on a Thursday night. And he's put a suit on and come in here and listen to what's going on. Well, the two lawyers right beside us said, do you reckon your client's good for another mill? Yeah, I reckon I can get another mill out of mine.
Wow.
So these two lawyers were fighting for husband and wife, were friends at the pub, organising to milk another $1 million each out of them before they settled. Now, I'm not saying all lawyers at all, but I've seen this happen so many times.
Do you know what you call 100,000 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean? A good start. Okay, most lawyers. There's amazing.
Sorry, Nina.
Lawyers. No, Nina's fantastic. No. But okay, I'm aiming one specific type of lawyer here.
Okay,
and you're right. You're absolutely right. No, I joke and I jest, but the reality is most lawyers, certainly when we talk about family law or criminal law, are crooks. They're absolute dead set crooks, right? Not people who are dealing with the houses and you know all of the wills and estates, that sort of thing. It's a different kind of world, right? But when we're talking about the people who are using humans as human fodder to make money, no, they are the absolute lowest of low, and I have no time for them, and absolutely no respect for them. And what your point that you just made, I actually know that. I know that experience as well. I've actually had that experience as well. So it's true. As far as engaging with a lawyer, that is the worst thing you can possibly do. Don't engage with the family court. Full stop.
Exactly. If you can do a settlement between the two of you, that will save you huge amounts of money.
Absolutely.
But
and years of your life.
Unfortunately, in the cases that I've been involved with and seen, the females have been totally unreasonable. They have lost it big time. And it's not all of them. And don't get that wrong, please, Lisa.
Okay, well,
they've just lost it and tried to turn their children against their
statistics.
I just want to go back to this cultural thing, because Edie brought up a really good point before. If you just go back a little bit for me, Aaron, I want to read it out.
Lisa's in charge.
Oh, Lisa, can you please?
Well, what I'd like to do, Leanne, is we've both got Edie and Princess really communicating to us what it's like in their part of the world. So if you don't mind, I'll just put them all up, and then I'll just
please. Let's start with what Edie had to say. I really loved that.
Okay, well, this was the first one. This one came in at 5:25. I think naturally men have this ego, or should I say love to be in charge. So some of them have mindset that having a woman who's financially powerful that they are would crush their ego. And then she said that there's Nigeria, Africa.
That's
the order
definitely
of behaviour in Africa, actually, which is really interesting.
Must be very, very difficult living over there, I think.
Those men must get a shock when they come here.
Yeah, they
Very
will.
different world.
Well, actually, I work with
so much insecurity and weakness. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
And next one, Lise. They avoid financially stable women here in our part of the world because they claim we won't be submissive.
But who wants submissive? That's boring.
No, but in their culture, obviously, or the males want submissive women. That's what that's bringing across.
Yeah.
I think that's terrible.
Well, I'm very thankful.
I'm sorry that you have to deal with that, Eddie. I really am. Yes, every child needs a strong family, and exactly, it is such a pathetic way to abuse the word submissive, but we are changing the narrative. Well done, ladies. Yeah.
Good to see. Really, really good to see. Yeah, look, this is such a difficult subject, right? Okay, because ultimately we've got people sitting here, and I think we can all agree we want men and women to get along, to have the best lives that they possibly can. Right?
Yes.
Exactly.
I don't think there's anybody here who's going, I'm on team man or I'm on team woman.
No.
You know what? I'm on team humanity.
Yes.
I actually, and humanity doesn't work without the two genders getting together, making it work, right?
100%.
Yeah.
And I think that's the real important point for today is humanity, team humanity, and getting together and working it out together. But I just want to make one more point. If there's any single males out there that are looking, not for me, I've got friends. I've got friends. They're single. They're nice, strong, powerful women, but I'm sure you will find them all also very, very accommodating, like they would be communicative and understanding and all the things that women are, but they're also strong and independent. And one's my very special co-host, but anyway,
there you go.
On our show next week with Wayne Brown, we're actually going to be talking about doing single awake speed dating, so that's pretty exciting with our Valentine's Day special, so it leads into it nicely.
Very
perfect. Yeah, this is actually pretty good a precursor for that, isn't it?
It is very much so.
Okay?
All right, I'm going to roll this all the way around because we've only got a few minutes left. So I want to talk about the political side, right?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's talk about the political side. Let's talk about the fact that we've got an election coming up, and there's a lot of women on the ballot. Okay.
Oh, there is.
It's a very,
very saw so many females.
Just positive thing, really is.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to. I'm actually going through different people's policies. I'm reading, and I encourage everybody to do the same. Read about the candidates. Okay, don't just get in there and start numbering. Get in there, find the people who have your values because they're there to represent you. That's the important thing.
Well, but does that really come down to that? Like if we see 5 independents and we're very, taken by what they've got to do, will they get in?
Well, yeah. Well, first things first, I'm going to give...
Seriously, our government...
That's another whole subject on how to vote properly.
Yeah, exactly. We could go on
we need that.
for that forever. Well, Joel Jamal's putting together some stuff for us, so that'll be very, very good very, very soon. But look, ultimately, I would recommend what I just said about doing your research. It's very, very important. If you are mentally unstable and you wish to vote for Labor, just don't. Okay, just don't. Okay, go seek medical help because Labor is a socialist organisation.
We do not want them in again.
It is in the first paragraph of actually their constitution. They're a socialist organisation, so they are not allowed to vote against. So every day, basically, they get an email telling them how to vote. Right? They're not allowed to make their own decisions. So as far as if you're going through and you're doing your research and you go, I really like this person, but they're Labor, you know what? It's a wasted vote because you are voting for the party, not the person.
If Labor get in, this show won't exist because they've got policies in there that are going to squash your freedom of speech completely.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely, 100%. They are absolutely destroying this country. And Lisa, you were going to say something?
Yeah, well, David had some really important information to share, having been involved in the polling previously. Did you want to use this opportunity to communicate some tips that you have, David?
Yeah, well, so, the polling.
Sure.
Yeah, when I got involved with politics at the last election, It was rather interesting. There was about, as I said, 22 ladies running the 26 different parties in WA, and that was one of the things. Through a series, the lady running all of those was put under the microscope and wrongly convicted of doing what she was doing by the leader of, by the face of the party. The actual leader of the party is his partner.
Oh, wow.
Which is interesting.
Very interesting.
And I got to be on live with him and asked him a few questions to what was going on. And his words were, "I don't give a flying feck about you feckers in WA," was his exact words to all the team leaders.
Unbelievable.
And the lady that was running WA put together a team of Man the Polls.
Okay.
We got 20, I think it was almost 20 of the 26 teams of the people came over and helped man the polls to teach people how to vote for the small parties properly.
So important.
So it just shows you, like they were amazed at how I was able to take all the crap from this person. But to me, whatever he says about me is not my opinion, it's his.
No, that's right.
And I just kept pushing his buttons till he had totally lost it. And you'll probably be able to guess who he is because he's done it a couple of times live. But this was to his own party.
Gotcha.
And that's when I saw the woman step up and do what they needed to do. Went back to their groups and said, "We're not going to stand for this.
Yeah.
We won't take this. We won't be led by a guy like that."
Wow.
Great to hear.
Yeah.
Solidarity and actually stepping forward and doing that is absolutely important. I think it is so hard because of all the little deals behind the scenes and all that sort of thing. It's very hard to know who you're actually voting for. Again, It's really, really important. Again, I will just put forward the point. I would really encourage people to vote. You know, Labor and Greens absolutely last, and for that matter, put all your independents, put them first because.
But can I just correct you? Do not put Labor on at all. 6 above the line, 12 below the line, but do not put Labor. The last party you want to get in is National or whatever it is, you put them last.
Yeah. Because
all your votes will go through the system.
Very good point.
They drop off, they don't have the votes, they go to the next person.
Correct. Yeah.
At the very least, we want Labor's opposition and we don't want Labor. And so you do not put them on at all.
I'm glad you clarified that. Where I was going, and it's a very important issue, I was saying let's deny them the $3.90.
Yes.
Okay, let's defund them. That's a really important thing because you look at them right now. Every feed that every time I open my phone or computer or walk out in the street, all I'm doing is getting Labor advertising, bang, 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 thrown at me because that's the money that's been raised from the votes, right?
Yeah.
It's such a scam. So if you can deny them that money, I really recommend you can.
I'd love to change that whole
and we are talking about Australian politics,
yes,
people.
We are.
So just saying.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's where we're streaming from.
Yeah, very true. All right. Well, I'm going to close the shop in a few minutes, but the lovely Lisa, because you have, you're not here. Okay?
We miss you,
We
Lisa.
miss you. Come on. Fix your Debbie more.
I'm being there. I'm going nuts being at home.
Do you have any last minute thoughts for today?
Yeah, I was going to play Leanne's promo.
Well, okay. Would you like to press the buttons? I've been trying, but you keep interfering. I don't know what's going on over there. Why don't you? No. I'm teasing you.
Yeah. Okay. You know I don't like being teased.
All right. Would you like to play? Would you like to play the promo?
Yeah, I could do that. Thank you so much, David, for coming in and talking about women in power. It's such an interesting topic, and we've had so much interest today. I think that my closing thoughts would be exactly what everybody said. Hey, let's just bring our best to the relationship and not be against one another. I mean, just work together. You be the man, I'll be the woman, and I mean, how wonderful would that be?
Perfect.
Well,
thank you very much.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure to be here.
Yes, David.
And fun.
Yeah, it was very, very good to have you here.
Great to hear. Now, Lisa, would you like to hit the button and let's go out on that beautiful.
Holding you back? Bowen Therapy with Panacea Healing can change that for you. It's never too late to recharge your health, career, or purpose. You have the power within yourself to change what no longer serves you, taking your life and health to another level. panaceahealing.com.au. You can do anything.
Ever felt lost online finding the right businesses?
Absolutely, like a needle in a haystack.
Introducing the Worldwide Awake Business Directory.
Tell me more.
It's your hub for businesses sharing your values. Discover eco-friendly products, socially responsible services, and more.
Count me in. I'll check it out straight away.
Find businesses aligned with your values on the Worldwide Awake Business Directory. Start making a difference with every purchase.